Hi everyone. Hi from Denver, and going to give my usual disclaimer of course I am filming in downtown Denver, so you may hear all kinds of urban noises going on outside, and just embrace them, the lovely sounds of a city. At the end of today's video, or towards the end, I will announce the contest winners. And that's right, I said plural. I decided I was feeling so appreciative of every way that everyone has supported me throughout this that I couldn't just limit myself to one. So there will be 3 of you who, as a thank you for sharing the video, I will send you an ENSOMA box, and I will reach out to you personally to follow up on that and get your details and mailing addresses and such. So hang in there a little bit longer, and I'll announce those towards the end. This isn't going to be a particularly long video, so don't worry about that. For those of you who don't know me, I have worked in the corporate behavior change, personal behavior change, and technology industries for over 20 years. Previously, I had mostly focused on business-to-business type connections, but I very much wanted to bring some of my experience and insights directly to individuals. So I decided to start doing these Facebook live casts and just see where it goes. So if there is anything you would like me to cover in these, or have any questions, or just want to chat with me, I would love to hear from you, and I will include the link below this video to get in touch with me, or also feel free to reach out any way that's comfortable for you to ask questions and such. The type of things I like to cover in these discussions is, or these Facebook Lives, is small, intelligent, actionable ways that you can improve your life, improve other people's lives, and just impact change around you. So those are that's the intention of this, but also I try to keep it topical and talk about things I've experienced in my own life. So more on that shortly. I really want to give a heartfelt thank you to all of you who watch these and share these and comment and connect with me. If it weren't for that, I wouldn't keep doing this. It's encouraging, and thank you, Cecilia. I love seeing all your names come across the screen as I sit here and talk out to the world. So I do see that, and I do really appreciate feeling connected with each of you. It means a lot to me, and I get a lot out of it too. I also wanted to say a personal thank you to Sarah S., who was the recipient of the VIP speaker ticket last week. She joined me at that workshop, and we had a great time, and I think we both got a lot out of it. So thank you for taking the time to do that with me, Sarah. And I also want to thank my neighbor, Barb, who helped me get in the mindset of talking about resilience. So all kinds of things happened to me throughout the week, but without having that topic in mind, I don't know that I would have framed those experiences quite the same way I did. And I'll be sharing those with you momentarily. So a special thank you to Barb as we were walking to the farmer's market on Saturday morning to mention the topic of resilience and bring it to the top of my mind for this last week. I also want to sort of thank the universe for putting a lemon in my path. And I'll tell you this story momentarily. It was something very unexpected, and it was a moment when I had to stop and take a look at myself in a new way and question my own judgment. I'm not going to thank the universe for putting Hurricane Irma in any of our paths, but I am going to talk a little bit about that too. In case you missed last week, it was a bit about how compliments are a little bit more tricky than they initially may seem. That's up, and I'll post a link to the area on Facebook where you can go see my past videos. So if you're interested in hearing a little bit deeper level about how compliments resonate with different groups of people and ways that you can become better at giving compliments, go check out last week's Facebook Live. And that, I think, brings us, I'll put links in there to ways to set up a one-on-one chat with me. I love to hear your stories, ways to see the previous videos, and if you're interested in my company called ENSOMA, I'll put a link to that too. So all those I'll include after I'm done filming this in the links below the video. Okay, on to the lemon story, now that I've built it up. Now, we get so many negative news stories out there that it's easy to forget that as humans, connecting with each other is such a powerful experience. And even if those connections are brief and seem almost insignificant to one of the parties, they can be life-changing for others. So my message throughout both these stories today is to encourage you all to reach out to your fellow humans and connect with them in some way, as small as it may seem to you. We all have our own battles to fight. We all may be going through something on a particular day that is not putting us at our best. So having those little moments of connectivity can really change a day, a week, a life. I was on my way to a friend's house and asked to pick up a lemon at a King Soopers in a neighborhood I was not familiar with, but it was fairly obvious this was a little bit more of a low-income neighborhood. I felt a little out of place in this store. I had that feeling like I should kind of be very aware of who was around me, maybe keep a hand on my purse. One of those sorts of experiences, and I'm not proud that I felt that way, but it was just, you know, trusting your instincts and feeling like you should be aware of your surroundings, that sort of a moment. And so I ran in and I picked up this lemon and was at the cash register, and I put my lemon, the only thing I was buying, on the belt. And this gentleman came up behind me, and I use the term gentleman a little bit loosely in this case, probably in his early 70s, heavily tattooed, grizzled beard, not an entire set of teeth, possibly not entirely familiar with personal hygiene. So while I didn't feel threatened, I was kind of in one of those, okay, I'm gonna keep a little personal space here. And the person before me was checking out, and my lemon was making its way along the belt. And I hear this man behind me say, "Oh, I'll get that for you. I'll pay for that." And I sort of stopped for a moment and looked at myself and went, really? In my head, I don't feel like I look like I need somebody to pay for my lemon. But I stopped and looked at him and I said, "Oh, well, I appreciate that very much, but that's not necessary. Thank you, but I'm all set." And he said, no, let me tell you, somebody did something nice for me earlier today. And it touched me so much that I feel the need to pay it forward. Would you please let me pay for this lemon for you? And I was a little bit taken aback and touched. I'll try not to hit my microphone. Touched. And said, well, if it will make you happy, if it means something to you, then I would be honored and I would really appreciate that gesture, and I will make an effort to pay this forward. And we chatted a little bit, and even the cashier sort of stopped and just thought it was very touching, and the gentleman laughed and said, well, the other woman had diapers, and the lemon's cheaper than diapers, and so he had a sense of humor about it as well. And just, I really felt connected to him in that moment. Don't know anything about him, don't know his name. That was the extent. The entire interaction took maybe 30 seconds. But I walked out of that store and I thought about myself, and I thought, that is not who I thought this person was. That's not who I thought I was when this happened. I clearly had some prejudgment frameworks going on in my head about who this man behind me was, and I had to check myself a little bit and realize some of my own biases. And two things stayed with me after that. One was I need to sometimes be a little more open to accepting people around me. The old adage, can't judge a book by its cover, but really just try to keep more of an open mind. Smile at people. You don't know what their story is. You don't know what they're going through. I still don't know much about that man, but I know that he affected me. And this was back on Monday, and today's Thursday, and it's still very much with me. The other thing is I had to laugh because of that interaction, life literally gave me lemons. Okay, it was just one lemon, but still. Life gave me a lemon. And it couldn't have meant more to me. Along those lines, my parents live in Sarasota, Florida, and like many of us, they were affected by Hurricane Irma, and so many people, I'm realizing, that I know and others have friends and family down in that area. My parents were fortunate in that they still have a home. It got a little bit beat up. Some soffit came off and some siding came off, but they have a roof and walls, not too much flooding, unlike so many others who didn't fare as well. They don't have power, they don't know when they're getting it back, but they're staying with friends a few miles away who do. So all things considered, they're very fortunate in that situation. I was talking to my mom and she told me a story how she was at a restaurant just after the hurricane, the day after, and many, many restaurants were closed. This particular one, I think it still had power, and those restaurant owners, and I wish I knew the name, I'll find out from my mom and put it in the comments, because in case any of you are down in the Sarasota area, I feel like whomever this restaurant is deserves their patronage, our patronage, who's ever. Go spend your money there. So this restaurant opened, and they didn't have their full staff. Many of the staff was affected by the hurricane. They had friends and family working there, and they said, we're just going to serve food until we run out. We're not going to ask for any particular amount of money for it. If you can pay, great. If not, we still want to feed you, and we want to bring back a sense of normalcy. And that was so important. I'm actually getting choked up about this. So important to so many people. It's not about the things you lose. That can be difficult, but, and I went through Hurricane Sandy myself. It's about the people you have to support you and being connected and having a sense of normalcy. So, in case you wonder where I get some of my principles from, as my parents were in that restaurant having dinner, mostly because they wanted to feel normal for a moment amongst all the chaos, my mom stood up and said, my mom turned to my dad and said, I'd like to say something, is that okay? And my dad said, sure, why not? He should know better by now. So my mom said, okay. She stands up in front of the entire restaurant and says, hey everyone, can I have your attention? I want to say something. I think we should all just take a moment and acknowledge the staff and thank them and thank the owners. And my dad kind of looks at her like, oh, I didn't think you were going to stand up in front of the entire restaurant and do this. But she did. She has a huge heart. And the restaurant owner and some of the staff just started tearing up and said, thank you. We've never had anyone really stop and acknowledge that we are also being affected by the hurricane, and that we're we're putting ourselves into this, and we're giving so much to try to bring normalcy for a moment to people's lives that have been so affected. So just the smallest thing, providing whatever food you have, buying a lemon for someone can have a profound impact. And I just wanted to remind all of you of that, because it's something that as we go through our days and get in kind of monkey do mode, I've got task mode, in that we can forget to take those pauses and just acknowledge other humans. So I challenge all of you and myself to go out there this week, today, and find some way to make someone else's life a little bit better. It can be a smile, it could be buying a coffee, it could just be stopping and complimenting, as we talked about last week, complimenting someone briefly. There's so many ways to do it, but just acknowledging your fellow humans is a powerful thing. That being said, I have 3 fellow humans that I would like to acknowledge for helping me get hopefully what is a positive and valuable message out there to others who have shared these videos, and they will each receive one of my favorite ENSOMA boxes, and I'll be in touch with the 3 of you to arrange this. That is Claire Z. Thank you from, I think you're in Alaska, Claire. I'm going to double check that, but thank you, Claire. Jeanette A. and Ann U. So all 3 of you I will be in touch with some cool stuff from ENSOMA. I'll post more about what they got once I get in touch with them. I don't want to spoil the surprise too much at this point. And I would love to hear from any of you out there about things you've done, ways these videos have affected you, things that you might want to hear more about, anything you want to talk about, really. I just like to talk, and I like people, so connect with me. I'll put the link in the comments around how to set up some time to talk one-on-one. And please share this video and any others that you find useful. I will be back at this time next week. Between now and then, I'm actually playing in a hockey tournament out here, so if I come back next week with a black eye and missing teeth, it's all in good fun. So we'll see how that goes. I think I've got 4 or 5 games, something like that, in the next 4 or 5 days, so it should be an exciting week for me. Thanks again for your support, and if you can't make someone else's day better, at least try to make your own a little better. At least look in that mirror and remember that you're pretty awesome, and you're very awesome. Forget this pretty awesome stuff. You are awesome. And I will see you back this time, this channel, next week. Thanks again, everyone. Bye-bye.